excited about it.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Wednesday night live stream. I know everyone's been kind of cooped up in pandemic mode and hibernating in the house for the last few weeks, so I figure it's a perfect time to do a bit of a stream on it and see how everyone's making out and see how the hobby's going and how you guys think the industry's going, and yeah, wherever else we end up, whatever rabbit holes we get through our little isolation chat. So how you boys doing today?
Doing good. Spirits high, even though we've been cooped up at home. How about you guys?
How you doing?
Yeah. I mean, actually, this is nice. This might be the most social interaction I've had all day. Right here.
Excellent.
Of course.
Get out
on
of
Skype all day, so I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Why stop now, right? So
Right.
You got to get out of the virtual house into the online social world. Excellent. What's going on in the chat? Aaron, Chris, Claudius, Reef and Chill, Inappropriate Reefer, who's on the chat and on the video. Sean Clark. As I'm reading the names, I'm like, wait a minute.
What's up, Warren?
Hey, Warren.
What's going on? So
That's I was talking to Richard back today, and he was telling me the story of the confused fan that like jumped out and ran out and was like, "I love your work," and then the whole time he thought that Richard was you.
Oh man.
oh,
You should just went with it, man. Just be like, yeah.
yeah.
Hey, you know what? That happened to me at work as well. Apparently, somebody in help desk is of Asian like descent, and somebody said hi to him, like, hey, yeah. And then later on, he told me, I'm like, just go with it. It's all good.
Yeah, why not? You just gotta rock it. It's totally just like spoof it and something else that's completely random just for fun.
Right, unless it's something bad, Unless if it's something bad, then make it clear. If it was good, yeah, man. Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Anyways.
Oh, that's good. I've actually only once had someone random like recognize me at like a fish store, which is the most randomest thing. Like by Reef Dudes, it was weird. It was like, oh hey, Reef Dudes. I was like, I've never had that locally
You
before.
guys are all pretty famous. I've seen you at shows. You all get mobbed.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, but at a show you expect it, but not somewhere random.
Yeah. Well, here's a question: are you Reef Dude or Reef Dudes?
Reef Dudes with an S.
Still Reef Dudes with S, right?
Yeah, for life.
Got it.
One day I'll do a video on this one.
Okay.
Are we going to
So is
take
that
questions?
That's the new tank in the background. Oh, we got questions.
Well, we don't yet. They're asking. We'll take questions. Yeah, definitely take questions. Today's kind of a free for all. That's Smokey's tank in the background. How's the new tank going? I see a wee bit of rock.
Yeah, I got some rock in. I got some dry rock. I got some live rock from the 45 gallons. I'm slowly migrating all the rocks from the 45 to this tank right here. I actually placed an order from both Marine Depot and BLS for dry rocks, and I placed them 2 days ago. They shipped today, which I was kind of surprised, and they should arrive maybe sometime next week. And I should get about, I think in combination, about 70 to 80 pounds of rock. So those would be completely dry rock. I'll try to aquascape those outside of the tank, maybe use some like epoxy to fix something kind of cool and plop them in there. So
Right.
moving forward.
That's a good idea, using the seeded rock as well. Kickstart the whole thing.
Exactly. You dumped in
Yeah,
bacteria too, didn't you? Like you had
I
some
did.
like weird bacteria mixed spores with the liquid or something like that. I vaguely recall this.
That was like the coolest thing. It was actually recommended to me from Tropic Marin. It's from Aquarium Monster, German company. It's it's like bacteria in a bottle, yes, except they're all stored in like dry format or hibernation format in the capsule. So what I do is I twist it, the capsule will pop, and all the bacteria drop into the liquid underneath to revitalize them. Super cool. So I did that in conjunction with just straight up dry rock. I let that run for about 3 weeks, and I started migrating some of the live rock from the old tank to this tank.
Nice. Excited for it? Big upgrade.
Whew. Intimidating in some aspect. I've been dragging my feet a little bit because I know that once I started, I can't really stop. But once I get into it, it's not as bad as I thought it would be, thanks to everybody's help, right? Especially Jim, been over a couple times. But it's moving forward. Excited.
Nice. That's awesome. Richard just joined the chat. We were just talking about you, Richard.
Inappropriate Reaper just joined the chat.
Yeah. Hello, inappropriate Richard. How are you? That's awesome.
Hey, thanks here too. I got it. What's up?
Awesome.
Sorry.
What's going on, Dan? West Coast Reefer, welcome. So, how has life been in quarantine? Have you guys noticed anything change with the hobby? Are you giving your tank more love? Are you neglecting it more? Are you maintaining it? No change. Life still goes on. Jim, go first. You haven't talked in a while.
So for me, it was there was that run on toilet paper like everybody had, and there also seemed to be a run on two-part. So it was two-part of toilet paper. Everybody was picking a side.
What side
For
did you
the
pick?
most part, I picked two-part.
Okay.
Oh wait! I better actually. I gotta put an order in real quick.
Now that you mention it.
I think it's nice being able to. I'm working from home, and
Mhm.
I'll probably be working home for a month or two. It's nice being able to get up, go get a coffee, go take a look at the tank. I have that opportunity to work with the work tank, but it's nice being home.
Mm-hmm.
I can poke around with it a little bit extra.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. All right, Jay. On the industry side of things, have you noticed any change so far?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely interesting out there. I mean, it's pretty interesting to see watching the local retail stores actually react to it. It's kind of good to see, you know, that some of the more forward thinking stores are spending that time to, you know, to buckle down and you know, do some renovation. They're doing curbside pickups for your two-part and your coral. And I don't know. I mean, I'm just looking at my own life, but I think the first 2 weeks of being in quarantine were different.
Mm-hmm.
But now this third week, it feels like you're starting to get back into a life rhythm a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and starting to you know, try and tackle some of those hobbies and some of those things that we kind of put on hold, you know, while we were waiting to see what the toilet paper situation was going to be.
It's still out everywhere here. It's crazy.
So I think it's kind of hopeful, I think, for the hobby in general. I mean, the retail community, like all retail communities, is probably under a lot of stress, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think that anyone who can get out there, you know, use that curbside or order something online for your tank while you're stuck at home is probably a great thing to do for the hobby. But other than that, I mean, people are pretty, you know, it's surprising. It's a new way of life, right? We're all kind of adapting to it.
Mm-hmm. Nope, very true. How about you, Milky? Has anything changed for you in life?
I was scared. I was scared because especially I got a new tank coming up. I was like, oh, can I get anything, right? So I kind of stocked up on salt. But at least from what I'm seeing so far, it seems like places are still open. They're still doing delivery. LFS is kind of finding ways to work around things like Jay mentioned, curbside pickup and stuff like that. I'm still getting ads from my local fish store saying, hey, we still got a big fish shipment coming in.
And deliveries.
Exactly. Yeah. I was surprised by that too, but I think like that's fantastic to see. I understand that, of course, they're under stress, but they're trying to make it work, and I assume that it's working. That's why they keep doing it.
Yep.
And I do plan to really support my LFS once things got up and running as well. So in some way, I'm kind of hopeful. I guess personally, I find myself being a little bit more picky in terms of how I manage my tank and stuff like that, because now I see my tank all the time. If I have a mess, I see it all the time. In the past, I would leave for work and I'm gone half the day. I come back, I don't want to deal with things, I don't care. But now that I'm always home, I find myself kind of paying more attention to things. It could be good or bad. I mean, I just gotta know like at which point should I stop and just move forward to the next thing. So it's like you guys mentioned, it's a new way of life. It's a new way of looking at things.
Yeah,
I kind of
that's
have
true.
the opposite going on at the moment because my tank is at the office. So, you know, I'm finding excuses to go in after hours when the production staff, when I'm not at risk of infecting anybody else, to sneak in there and just check on things. But I was actually there this afternoon under the guise of needing to collect some stuff just to see that everything's okay. But Kelsey's been actually, I'm fortunate because Kelsey's in there. We have a lot of tanks, obviously, so she takes care of it, and everything was looking really good. So maybe it's benefiting from me not looking it around all day long. I don't know.
Keeping your hands out of the tank has its own perks. That's funny. Nothing's changed for me yet. I've honestly hardly noticed a difference because I work from home anyways. I've been like more I've been busier than normal, like helping support everyone that's now working remotely. So I have like less time. So it's like but I'm gonna give the tank a little bit of love, hopefully in the next few days. It was fine.
Definitely want to jump in a little bit. I
Yep.
know, like, for three of us, we're in the U.S., right? So we kind of know what's going on in the U.S. side. How about in Canada? Has things changed?
It's getting there. Like, it's not as bad in Canada. They're at least in BC. I know they're trying to get more ahead of it. It's really pushing the whole isolation, don't go out thing. Like, it's not strictly enforced, but a lot of businesses, like restaurants, you can't really go in anymore. It's like takeout or delivery only, and like a lot of stuff like that. So, a lot of the social businesses are more or less shut down or doing ulterior methods for now. So, yeah, I know. It's crazy everywhere. It seems like doesn't matter where you are in the world, it's a similar situation or close to being there.
Yeah, at least we're lucky. I think all of us as hobbyists and as producers and retailers that pets are considered essential. So
That helps.
actually, both my wife and I continue to work. She actually has to go in. She works for Sam Adams, and apparently beer is extremely critical for human survival during these times. So.
That makes sense. A few of the breweries here have offered keg delivery services now. Yep. It's essential services. No, that's good. So going forward, like, I know this is going to be obviously a bit harder. It depends on the industry, and right. I mean, a lot of us have the ability to work remotely, which is a big thing. Which you'd be a little bit buggered if you weren't able to work remotely. Definitely be a lot harder, especially with the hobby. So it'll be interesting to see how things kind of change going forward. Because I mean, I'm speculating it'll be a couple months of this until life goes back to normal, at least. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out. But yeah, a lot of the businesses that are going to pull through it are having to do ulterior things. You know, they're going to start shipping stuff or like curbside pickup and all that type of stuff. So yeah, it's interesting to watch all the different industries and how everyone's trying to adapt to work with what they can in the situation. But even like Home Depot, I went there the other day, and there's like a queue to get into the store, and there's like 6-foot pace lines spray painted on the ground to like space yourself out. And yeah, it's crazy right now. Here in Ohio, tons of businesses labels essential. Yeah, there really is. Like, yeah, tons.
Yeah, you can't get your hair done or nails did or whatever, right?
Yes.
Those kind of places, those
Yeah.
kind of places are down for the count for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's a problem for some.
Yeah.
Yeah, my hair is definitely getting along. I was tempted to ask Emily to cut my hair for me. So let's see. She looked up. She's like, "What?"
You should cut it before his next video. We'll see what it turns out like. It'd be good.
Yeah, I wonder about all the other retailers. Than mentioned it there. It's interesting to watch and see those that can't adapt. They're just going to close up shop for a bit. Hopefully they can come back.
No, exactly. So I don't know. At least in Canada, one thing I thought was interesting, they're subsidizing a lot of businesses up to 75% of the wage to keep people employed, so people aren't being out of a job and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. So hopefully that helps businesses keep things rolling. You know, figure out some way of doing remote stuff and keep life happening.
Joshua there, that's a tough gig. Quarantined away from his tank because his roommate tested positive. Ouch.
Oh, yikes.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Make sure he tops off your ATO for you. Feed the fish. This. But this is one time. I mean, if you can't
There's
get
all
to
sorts of bad jokes, right?
Yeah, too many.
yeah. I don't
The
know.
IV bag for saline, right? At a pinch, maybe.
Yeah, there's a will, there's a way. Wish I would, Tom. Wish I was an essential worker. Yeah, I don't know. It's a mixed bag, right? Because you want to be working and still have an income, but at the same time, it'd be nice to have free time, but you don't want to be buggered if you have a mortgage and payments and everything else, right? So it's kind of like, that's good.
I'd like to be able to pay the mortgage and not have to duck bullets, like Tom says.
Yes, avoid the bullets. No fun.
Avoid the bullets.
Yep. So, any big plans for you guys for the next few weeks, month? What are you doing with all your free time? Any tank plans? Anything good going on?
I think I'm ready to upgrade again.
You need a home tank.
I'm sorry?
You need a house tank, not just an office tank.
I mean, if this goes on much longer, I think that may happen. But, I mean, you got to wait. So then, maybe that's a good time to get it up and cycling, right? While we're working.
Exactly. Quarantine your fish, quarantine yourself. 'Tis the world. Now you know what the fish feel like cooped up.
How's your tank coming along? Actually, I've been getting lots of pictures from people actually on Facebook and through Messenger of their tanks lately, and because everybody's at home taking care of them and really getting involved with it, and it's just really amazing to see. It's actually really amazing to me to see just how far the hobby's come to in the last, since I started working at Ecotech, for example, just how amazing people's tanks are and how amazing the colors and the variety that's out there. I mean, I don't believe it's always been that way. It certainly didn't seem like that when I got started. But, man, this is just eye candy after eye candy rolling through on the feed. So
nice. I'll take some new photos later.
Yeah.
A couple of my acros weren't as happy. The LPS, everything's thriving. I test my tank. My nutrients are super high. I was like, oh, gotta step up the water changes and actually give the tanks a love. It's been so neglected the last few months because it's been crazy busy.
How's the auto water change going? You kicked that in, yeah?
Yeah, no, it's going good. I'm gonna up it and maybe do like 2 gallons a day or something. I gotta up its ante a bit so it has a little more impact. I think I just have too big of a water volume for it now. But it's so nice not have to manually do it all the time. It's now I want to do it on my other tank somehow. But yeah, it's such one of the most, I don't know if it's annoying, but like a water change isn't hard to do, but it's just like the prep work of mixing the water in a bin and getting buckets and all that jazz. It's like push a button or have it automated. So nice.
Hey, I have a question because I'm joining you guys on the Big Tank Club, right? Before this, my largest tank was 65 gallons. Now we're moving on to like 135, right? I've been thinking like I would love to do it so that there's no water change, period, right? But if I have to do water change, what's the best way? Is like auto water change easy to set up? I was thinking like getting a brute trash can and just store water, but that takes up room as well in the basement. Is auto water change worth it?
Yes.
Difficult to set up?
Yes. If you have an easy way to get lines from wherever your bin is to your tank, then it's definitely worth it. Otherwise, it just saves you hauling buckets all the time. Like, if you can automate, a big storage bin to your auto top off and another big storage bin to do auto water change, you're no longer hauling buckets around, right? There's less chance of you spilling water on the floor, all that type of stuff. So it's not just saving you the hassle, it's also floors and spills and all the stuff you're going to avoid. Like, once every, month or two, I'd probably still get the sand bed vacuum. But aside from that, I mean, it handles everything for you.
Okay. I mean, because I know Jim has a pretty sweet setup as well. So...
I definitely would like to set it up too, just because what I've noticed with the people who have it and are running it is because of the how stable it maintains your parameters. Hardcore in particular just does so well when you have that auto water change just going and maintaining the levels. So I think it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a must, but it's certainly, I think, not only makes it a lot easier, but it's gonna make you a lot more successful too.
Yeah, it's like if there's something off in your tank, it's going to minimize it. If you're missing something, you're going to get a little bit added back in. So it's kind of like a contingency plan. Just kind of same thing, keeps things kind of stable and keeps everything happier. I just find the tanks happier doing it than not doing it.
Got it. And I guess Jim, you see the same thing as well, right?
Yeah, I do. So mine's smaller. I don't have large bins, but I do mix up once a week. A 7-gallon jug, and then just take it into the fish closet, and that's my new water for the week. And I just dump out the old container, or I use the old container for the Pico that's next to me, or the work tank that I had to bring home downstairs. It just makes it very easy.
Yeah. Okay. I may have to look into that. It's just trying to find a space to for the water storage. That's kind of like the kicker.
That closet right behind you.
Oh, wash your dryer in there, man.
No, we got to move those.
You already got water in a drain. You're set.
You can wash it
exactly.
Okay.
You just need a stackable.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point. I'm gonna stack them.
Watch my video, buddy. I took mine, stacked them. Boom. Side by side containers. You got water. You got a drain. Money. It's right beside your tank.
I'll look into that. That's actually a great idea. Very cool.
It's happening.
Yeah, I'm pretty sold actually. Excellent.
Thanks, Jay. Can have another customer.
Yeah, I want to hear you guys about different projects coming up. Now that like Jay mentioned that he may set up a new tank at home. Hopefully he will. I mean, I would love to see what he does, especially in terms of like his lighting of choice and like how he sets.
Puffy vibes.
What those guys? Yeah, it's be good. But
yeah, I'm a little biased. I don't make too much of a secret about that.
but yeah, I want to see like Def and Jim. What are you guys planning on working on?
Well, my next project, which who knows what it'll be because I don't have the tank manufacturers working, but I'm thinking of upgrading my Lagoon tank because I've more or less turned into a frag tank, and it is busting at the seams with frags because I just have too much coral in there. So I'm looking at doing a shallow tank, kind of like modeled after my old big one, but maybe it's like 14 inches deep and 7.5 feet long. So I have too many tanks. I'm trying to get down to 2 tanks only. So I just want my big display and then like an office frag tank. So along the side of my office, I might just put like a big one against the wall and just make a sleek, slick little frag system. Grow out tank.
Might as well do like a raceway, right? Make it like an LFS, just
Done. Here, actually, I don't know if there's an easy way to share it, but I've already been SketchUp modeling it the last few days.
Were you about to show us like what you got going so far? No.
Can I share this? Well, here, I can share it on YouTube easily. I don't know if I can share it to Skype and YouTube at the same time.
Jumping over to YouTube.
This is...
Can you guys hear that? Can you hear what I'm dealing with back here?
It's not too loud.
Ethan, Lydia, go upstairs. You know you weren't supposed to come down here right now. Go.
You're gonna have little hands and faces coming through the screen behind you. Yep.
Here, come over here real quick.
Emily, you gotta say hi to.
There you go.
Hey guys.
That's the best part of working from home right there.
Hi Emily. Hi Lydia.
All right,
Welcome.
I can see it, Dev.
Yeah, excellent. All right, yeah. So that's
Yeah,
my
one of the downsides about working from home is you're never quite alone.
Also, I suppose a positive.
Yep.
Also a positive, yes.
Pro
yeah,
con
absolutely.
same time. Yep. So it's good. It's more fun, but harder to get away. Yep.
Emily's like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wanted to do her like aerial yoga, but I kept like live streaming it.
You're just gonna start seeing legs swing by through.
When
the
she's
air.
like all wrapped up, I'll pan over. How about you, Jim? Any special project happening? I know you don't do like DIY stuff.
Mhm.
First, somebody asked me if I was going to be swinging from your basement on that thing, and I was like, "Oh hell no! That'd be a big chunky mermaid hanging from your ceiling. It would stress
Do it.
that thing out."
Do it next time you go over.
I need to do the controller shuffle. I need to do some wire maintenance because everybody knows what it looks like underneath my tank. Moki, you're hilarious. And I need to move a couple controllers around and just dedicate that GHL to the closet.
Mm-hmm.
That's on the list. I could stand to do some overflow work from the frag tank to the sump. That's sketchy at times.
Yeah.
There's always something to do. Now, all of those projects are very low on the list of stuff that I've been gifted to do around the house.
Been gifted. Sounds like a wonderful gift you have there.
Yes.
It's
You
okay.
might watch this. It's totally a gift.
I have the honey-do list on the glass mirror outside my office too. I keep cleaning the mirror and erasing it. Keeps appearing again. They're like, you haven't done those yet. I'm like, shh. It's okay. Yeah. So yeah, frag tank is my big one, which who knows when they'll actually build it with what's going on in the world right now. So that's a potential project, and then my other little mini one is building my own little DIY auto flush for the RO. I already bought a bunch of solenoids, so it'll be a little Arduino-based project.
Awesome.
Yep.
Nice.
So you're gonna flush your RO tank periodically, is that?
Yeah, so I think what I'm going to make it, so when it powers on, I think it's going to flush the membrane for about 30-45 seconds. And then it was going to close the output, flush the membrane for about 40 seconds, and then it's going to flush pre-DI for about 2 or 3 minutes. That will burn off all the TDS creep, and then it'll open the valve at the end to let water flow to wherever it's going to after that. That will just make your filters last ages.
Yep.
I think that'll be good.
It's good to know.
Yep, it's my game plan. Yeah, because usually when you first turn your RDI, you'll have a ton of TDS creep. And if you have a meter pre-DI, you can watch it. Like I'll turn it on. It's like, oh, there's like 50 TDS. And then after like a minute, there's like, okay, you're down to 10. And then like a couple of minutes, it's like down to like 2 or 3. So you're saving a ton of work for your DI by doing that. So make it last ages.
Sean wants your code.
Sharing our Arduino code. Yeah, I'll share it when I do it. I'll probably do a video on it. It will probably happen in the next few weeks. I just need time to actually do it. What size is my tank? It is, they say it's 220 gallons, and I'm assuming that's with the ATO, and the sump. So probably about 180, 190 plus sump. 200-ish, roughly. Ballpark. What's going on, Greg? What size is your new tank? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Milky, what size is your new tank? Behind you.
135.
135?
The sump is pretty big, though. I'm not sure how big the sump is. The sump is huge.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, what, 20 or 25? Jim?
Okay.
You know?
It might be bigger. It's bigger than that.
90 cube. That looks like about a 90 cube. Is that right?
Let's see. Yeah, I can't really see it, though. I'm kind of tied it up.
That's bigger than a 20.
Yeah.
I'll go over there actual size.
It's always such a nice dimension, like those cube tanks. Oh wow! Yeah. I like the stand too. Did you build? Did you build the stand?
You had to assemble it.
Oh no! It came as a set. So the set came with like the tank, the stand, and the sump. If I were to build a stand, this tank would not have been done for another year or two.
And then there was that one time we tried to disassemble the stand, and we just walked around the house with it for a while.
Oh yeah, it's like we're trying to move it upstairs to see if it's flat, right? We need because like down here is carpeted. Trying to move it upstairs to the dining area, but we made the turn the stairs with a lot of pivots. But at the end, right at the doorway, we got stuck. We're like 1 inch short, so we couldn't make it out there. But eventually, we made it work, so it's fine.
They're speaking of fitting it. That's when trying to design this new frag system. I was like, oh, I got 8 feet this way, but I'm like, it wouldn't fit in the room. I'd have to take out my desk, every piece of thing in the room to fit it. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like measuring angle from corner to corner in the stand, so I could like stand it up and like move it and drop it down, and all these little buggery things to fit to actually get it in the room. Interesting bits.
Yeah.
So I'm bummed. No Reef shows.
I know, it's weird.
Yeah.
Starting to take bets on what the first show that will actually get to happen will be.
I've canceled 2 trips so far, and I still got another one next month that I'm like 99% sure is going to be canceled. But I'm just waiting for them to say it before I actually cancel it.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody's going to do like virtual shows. I'm not sure how that's going to work. Maybe like just a series of videos from different vendors or like stores with ability to do like online orderings. I don't know. But
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, I don't see Reef Show happening at least like until at least September.
Yeah.
So Kyle's making me some doors for actually I think it's the same tank you have, that Peninsula tank.
Nice.
We were going to use for a Mobius display at Reefapalooza. So that would be a fun thing to do. I really like that idea, like to just do it as if it's our trade show booth and set it up at the office, and then film it, do like a couple live streams of walking around explaining the different stuff on it. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, just do some like virtual shows, or even like back then I know Reef clubs they do like tank tours. Like for the day they travel to different members' house and just check out the system. There's no reason why we can't do some virtual tank tours. I think that'd be cool.
It would be. Yeah, that'd be good.
Reef
Wear
dudes.
gas masks and like suits and it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that'd be fun. Or you should set it up at your house, then you have a home tank and a show tank and a tour tank.
Yeah.
Just get the matching Peninsula, Jay. Then we could share tank notes.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
There was actually talk about doing some form of like a virtual show with some of the shows. So it might be something happening coming up. So we'll see. Nothing official. Just heard rumors.
I'd expect to see a pretty decent increase in live streams. A lot of those people still want to be out there doing some work. Good way to connect.
We'll come up with something good. That'll be fun. Less people need entertainment right now.
It's kind of a bummer, though. I mean, the social aspect of those shows is just such a great experience. It's just such a nice environment to get together with everyone in the hobby and
fun.
geek out. It's really what it is, right? It's a geeking out fest on coral and whatnot, and now we get to do it remotely.
Yeah, gotta do what you gotta do. All right, well, you'll have to come on the live stream more and get your fix then. This is more fun than talking about myself. But yeah, honestly, it really is. I mean, I don't know about your spouses, but sometimes I get sick of hearing about fish stuff 24 hours a day. So it's good to have people to geek out with. Jim, does your spouse like your tank?
Did I do what to who?
Exactly. That's what I thought. You sound guilty already. Does your significant other like your tank? Does she like the hobby?
No.
Or is she like, coral talk again?
No. Did we talk about this? I think we talked about this a
Loosely.
little bit. It was, no, she gave up. So this is just one of too many hobbies.
Yeah.
And she gave up a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
She likes looking at the tanks, I suppose. Well, one of the tanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's about
but,
right.
She's not really engaged.
No, that's fair. I find that's a lot of it where like, one person's like gung ho and the other one's like, yeah. So that's where the shows shine. You can like geek out with your
I'll
people.
Occasionally, hey, come here, look at this, but I also know when to pull back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's fair. Wise. Know your limits, reef within it.
Yep.
Yeah. Emily's pretty into it, so you're pretty good there, Moki. Is she ever like, too much reef, or is she good?
Hold on a second. Emily, you wanna? There are things that you're pretty into it in terms of like the reef tank. What do you think?
What?
Into the reef, like you like it, right?
Do you like the reef tank, or you're like, more saltwater
Hold on,
tanks, or you're like,
the battery's actually
I love it.
Emily, take over.
Okay.
What's
So
up,
how do you
Emily?
feel? How do you feel
Like
about all
about the tank?
Yeah. Do you like the tanks, or you're like, more tanks? Or you're
I
like,
want-
yes.
I want to get a hammer. Just no. I
That
think
one?
it's
That one or the 45 upstairs?
both.
Yeah.
Not really. I actually like this.
Mhm.
Sorry, baby. Let me. He doesn't like it.
The baby doesn't like the tank? That's because there's no fish in it. He has nothing to entertain him. You need to get some life in there, and then he'll be mesmerized.
Yeah, I think we actually try to. Okay, off the record, we actually try to let him swim in this place.
You did, or you're going to?
Once he hit the water, he's like, ah. So we try, but he doesn't like it.
No? No baby fish?
Probably.
Oh,
Is there
Yeah,
footage of that?
Yeah. Did you record
there
this?
is of the baby crying. It looks more like it looks like I'm abusing him, so I didn't post it. There's some line I do not cross too.
Torture the
that,
baby
guys.
rather than a wonderful swim. Swimming with the fishies. I don't know. I think once you have fish in there, it'll be
he
good.
just went. He was like,
Yeah.
yeah. Can't wait for the setup
Yeah.
Mhm.
soon.
Soon?
What fish will you keep in there?
Come on.
No, I asked.
Oh, what fish I want to keep? I don't.
Yeah,
Man, I don't know yet. I'm thinking about small fish, because a tank, even though it's 135, I don't think it's that big, and I feel
Yeah.
like having smaller fish makes the tank look a little bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Something. Actually, I won't go there. It's kind of. But yeah. Small fish, probably small showing fish, maybe like Lagoon chromis. I'll try it again. In the past, I've tried it with a little success. No, a lot of people do not have too much success with Lagoon chromis because they tend to drop like flies, right?
Mhm.
But I appear to have a really aggressive pair of clown that just attack everything. So that seems to keep those green chromis in check, and they don't do as much infighting. So I'll try that again. Probably Emptius and maybe a Rasa too, but I don't know because I don't plan on putting a mesh top over the tank.
No, they will jump out.
So I might not get. Oh man.
But it's
Yeah,
on carpet. It's a soft
They
landing.
get like 6 to 8 feet. They launch.
Yeah, so I'm not
It's
sure
so
about that.
sad. You're like, where'd it go? And then you find it in the middle of the carpet.
Oh my god, that's nightmare.
That's actually Emily's nightmare. Should I go into the story real quick?
Yeah,
What
you
happened?
go for it.
Yeah, what happened? Fill us in.
Really quick. So when I first met her, she told me she does not like fish, and I don't understand that. Why would people not like fish? Everybody loves fish,
Because
right?
at the first sight, I don't like you. That's why I say I
Okay,
don't
all
like
right.
fish.
So later on, a story came out. Apparently, when she was young, right, her dad and brother kept fish, tropical fish, and they kept the fish tank in the bathroom.
Yeah,
And one
I don't
night,
know why.
when she wake up to go to the bathroom, she stepped on something squishy. So as you guys have thought, it was a fish that jumped out.
Right.
And ever since then, she has been traumatized, and she hates fish, especially any type with really clear definition of scales, like goldfish. So that's where it stems from. But I think we're on the way to cure, because like now she's a lot more accepting. So it's good.
That's good.
You
Right.
sure?
Good.
Baby
Good
steps.
I don't have a choice.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm back.
No, it was a good,
she
it was a
did
good
great.
sidebar.
Actually, you want to watch the baby?
You
good.
Beautiful.
So, speaking of fish jumping, one of my old cleaner wrasses, I called him Terminator because he literally jumped out probably about 4 to 5 times. And I picked him up and put him back in every time, and he kept on going. Like one time I walked downstairs and the puppy was licking him on the floor. I was like, what the heck? So I pick it back in, had a little bit of hair on him, like take it off and like put it in the tank and start moving around, and then he started swimming again. I was like, ooh, that's good. So yeah, those guys.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, literally 4 or 5 times I put him back in.
Hold
And
on,
then-
is this from the same tank that you have right now, or
This is my old
Previous
tank when it was downstairs before.
did you have a mesh top on it, or just no top?
Eventually I did, but
Okay. After like the 5th time, it's like,
I saved him every time. But yeah, so that was crazy. Jay, question for you. Versadosing pump. Someone says, can they dose as low as half a mil? I think they go down to 0.1 of a mil, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't, without seeing the app in front of me. I mean, there is a lower and upper limit. I think you have the app in front of you.
I'm about to launch it and confirm.
There you go. Yeah, easiest way to check.
I believe you can do even less. Like they're ultra precise. All right, salt water. Let's do a manual dose. 0.1. Yep, I can dose 0.1. 0.01. I just dosed 0.01 of a milliliter. So there you go. Super duper ultra tiny doses.
No kidding.
What's the max limit? What do you max out at?
Like the continuous dosing speed.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think.
no, continuous will be lower. So the continuous is set at a lower to preserve pump life.
Okay.
I believe. So the spot dosing will go higher. I think it might be 300 ml
Yeah, it's either 200 or 3. Let's see.
over 10 seconds, maybe.
Okay. So yeah, so I can do 0.01 of a mil as my minimum dose. Well, the maximum dosage depends on the time, right? So
Yeah, max.
Yeah, but
max
yeah,
premium
exactly.
products
But I think
is
it's
300.
300, right?
yeah, I think so.
That's what everybody's listing online.
Yeah. There you go. 0.01 up to 300 mils. So massive range.
That's tight.
I've thrown lots of stuff at it so far, and it's handles it all, which is good. Have you guys tried Aqua Forest products that get a changing from KZ Zeolite? I have not actually used Aqua Forest. I used a couple trace elements before, but I've never used their whole system. Have you guys used it?
A buddy of mine, Shane, Moki has met him. Shane is huge into Aquaforce. He totally trusts that product.
Yeah.
Than, I think, had a bad experience with it.
Yeah.
But Shane's been running that stuff for years.
Oh, a couple of people earlier when you're talking about dosing and not able to get 2-part, a couple of people are like, time to update to a calcium reactor, which is kind of true. Because I literally fill mine like once a year, and then I just don't touch it for the rest of the year. So it lasts super cheap on media. It's expensive up front, but long term it saves you a bunch of money.
Yeah, I think there was a message up there that I need to be trying it.
Yeah. No, that's good. And then Versadosing pump to feed it. Ultra quiet. If I have the Alcatronic to test my tank, and I'm like, oh, it's trending up or down. I open Mobius. I'm like, up at 1 mil per minute. Dosing adjusted. That's all you got to do. I'll up or down.
I was poking around this morning because I had to replace my calc pump, and I'm dosing 80 mils an hour, so almost a half a gallon a day.
Mm-hmm.
Versa would do the trick.
Oh yeah. No, they're wicked pumps. Do. Can you get Than on the live stream? I will sometime. We will get Than on one day, don't you worry. Next time, have you guys tried Continuum? I have not. Have you guys tried Continuum?
Did Continuum have a different name before?
I think you might be right, or it's like a similar product. Or rebranded product, or something like that. But yes, there was something very similar in the past.
What was it? Help me out.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Oh, okay.
I was waiting for it. It's escaping me on what it was.
Dude, Devin, I don't know how you keep up with all the chats. Like, I'm looking back. There's so many coming. I see you interacting in the chat room as well.
He's talking and typing.
What is going on?
Multitasking, buddy, and I don't need to look at the keyboard to type. Multiple skills.
Good lord.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there are a lot of solid questions that we missed. Anyways, keep going. Sorry.
Probably. Okay, there you go. Someone's saying Brightwell and Continuum are sister companies. That might be what it is.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
That makes sense. That's actually a good question. John Crew, what's your take on zeolite rocks? I was actually talking to someone the other day who was hardcore about it, and he didn't do the full zeolite, but he says he ran those because they reduce nitrates and phosphates. I was like half thinking of throwing some just in my NAS reactor just for fun to see if it made a difference. So, haven't tried that, but I don't know. Have you guys ever tried the whole zeolite rocks before?
I had them in the sump. You're supposed to shake them, right? I mean, that's what BRS shared. I assume we're talking about the same product.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and they turned a little funky.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay. What if it was in a reactor though? A float is constantly going through it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Derek 499 super chat. Woo! Thanks, Derek. Switch to dosing, but it's going great. Calcium reactor is always the best option for larger tanks. Love you, Dev. Thanks, man. Thanks for the love.
It's true. I like the convenience of the liquid 3-part, but yeah, that gets expensive.
Yeah, on a smaller on a smaller tank, I mean, you're fine. Or if you don't have a lot of coral, same. But it kind of depends, right? Like if you have like a 100-gallon tank, it probably doesn't make a difference. It's when you get to like a 200-gallon tank and like the big tanks where it'll really start to add up over time. Aquaforest said they don't need to be shaked. Yeah, so apparently Aquaforest has their own version of that. I don't know what it's called, but someone mentioned that the other day to me.
And it's not a ceramic media, it's something else?
I have no idea what it is. I didn't even know what it's called to look it up yet. Someone just mentioned that there was an Aquaforest version that doesn't need the whole shaker. Zeo mixed by Aquaforest. Okay.
Okay.
There you go. Something new to play with. What does Moki think of his Hydor product? What is your Hydor product, Moki?
That's your return pump, isn't it?
No, I should know this. No, there's a pump in the mangrove tank. That's Hydor. Also, my Hydor. I use a Hydor skimmer back in the days as well. Is there a specific product that the person asked?
No, he just said your Hydor pump.
Okay. I think that Hydor in general, I like because I also use their inline heater for my planted tank. Overall, I feel like they're good company, right? The quality of product is there. I like. Yeah, if you have like specific equipment that you want to ask me about, I have the answer if I've used it.
Yeah.
That's the only product I've used of theirs actually is that inline heater, and it did work very well.
Yeah, it's a little big, but it works.
Yeah.
I had one on the back of my tank for 5 years. The thing was fantastic. It finally just gave up this year.
How many watts is it?
400, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't think they even have different sizes, do they? They might do. Hydor inline.
It's actually that's part of the tank cleaning that I need to do is slide the tank out because I'm still small. I have small tank probs, and I can slide that thing out and do some work behind it, and that's one of the things I have to take off.
Huh.
You know, Jacuzzi makes a 1500 watt one. I'm assuming that's hot tubs.
Just pipe a big hot tub heater in there. It'd work.
300 watt Idor ETH 300 inline.
300. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same
That's
one I
the
found
one. Although it looks a little more stylish now than the one
back in the day.
we have or had.
Mm-hmm. Joshua, do you guys run UV? If so, what are you running? I have a UV. I don't run it full time. I've only really used it like once or twice to deal with the bacteria bloom. But do any of you guys use UV at all?
I have an in tank, just in case.
Yeah.
I think that's more to make me feel better. I'm not sure how effective it is.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading one of Jamie Craggs's posts the other day. I mean, he was using it. He used it with a water clarifier, and it took out his. He had a probably diatom bloom, and it cleared it right up using those. I think they work quite well as a emergency action. I don't know on an ongoing basis. I've never used one, so
They're more preventative on an ongoing basis. But yeah, like I've literally just plugged in mine just to deal with a bacteria bloom and got rid of it in like a day or two. Aside from that, that's about the extent of it. It's sitting somewhere in my room.
Yeah, I've never used it as well, mainly because like back then I have smaller tanks. So I heard that unless you go a certain wattage, UV is not really as useful. But now that the tank's a little bit larger, I may start looking into it a little bit more, especially if I have like dino bloom and stuff like that. But I've never used it. Curious to hear everybody else's experience as well.
It's interesting too. I mean, it's funny coming from, obviously, because of my focus on our company focuses on flow, lighting, etc., more so than additives and these sorts of, I would say, more accessory type products. It's like I have a very traditionalist approach. I don't know. I think of it as a traditionalist approach to like reef keeping, about just trying to find the balance with the biology. But it's interesting watching how everybody, and there are so many different ways to succeed in this hobby. Either products, there's products that will greatly, I mean, like the bacterial dosing to bring a tank cycle up very quickly. Definitely works. I'm of the like, I always wait the 3 months kind of thing and add one fish, and I was a little quicker the last time, but generally speaking, I'm really I'm very old school, or whoever I gravitated towards for instruction seems to I gravitate towards that for whatever reason. But it is really cool just how there's all these different ways to get.
Yeah, I'm with Jay. People complain online, say, go faster. But in terms of like cycling tank, I'm so used to just looking at an empty tank and just let it do its thing. I am intrigued by the instant cycle and stuff like that. I've never really tried it yet. So I'm always curious. How was your experience?
Oh, it's good, man. Well, okay, it wasn't quite as instant, but okay. So with my new tank, in the past when I did it, I used the Fritz Turbo Start, and now this time I use the Brightwell Quick Start XLM, and I pre-cycled my rocks actually. So I mean, it wasn't quite instant because I had the rocks before the tank. So I pre-aquascaped, threw it all in a brute bin with a heater and a pump, dumped in a bunch of bacteria, a couple weeks, and then I was feeding it ammonia. And then when I added the tank, I added like excessive amounts of fish, like way too many fish all at once. So I just dumped in like copious amounts of the cycling bacteria in the tank. Is like contingency plan, 0 ammonia, 0 nothing. Like it was good to go. So it definitely works. Or if you're adding lots of fish, it's good kind of backup plan to make sure you got that bacteria to handle the load.
Can I ask, like, how long did you quote unquote pre-cycle the rock?
Probably about 6 weeks or so.
Okay, it's interesting because like recently I started reading this thread on Reef to Reef about like cycling, right? And they're saying that there's a set amount of submersion time, I guess. So basically, after that amount of time, technically the tank should be cycled. I think it's like 7 weeks. That seems to be like whatever they're preaching. But I gotta go back, dig a little deeper.
I'm gonna say from testing, within about 10 days, my rock, I could dose about a ppm and a half of ammonia, and it would process it after about 10 days. So technically, it was cycled between 10 to 14 days. It was cycled. So it definitely does speed it up. I mean, anyone that's brand new is impatient, right? Like if you've had a bunch of tanks, you've learned patience, you're okay waiting a bit longer. If you're new, you're gonna rush it. So anyone that's new, I 100% think just buy a bacteria product, add it, and have that buffer because you're likely going to add stuff quicker than you should. So it's going to make you more successful while doing it.
Yeah,
I've definitely noticed with tanks. I mean, I've always used not real live rock, so dry rock. And compared to watching tanks that we've done in the office with actual live rock, the cycling process is much faster when you use live rock, much faster. But then again, on the other hand, you also run the risk of getting stuff that you don't necessarily want in that, or you end up with balances which aren't quite exactly where you want them to be. Whereas I find with the dry rock, it's been very reliable as long as I've been patient with it in terms of adding stuff. And then soft coral will handle it very quickly, whereas hard coral typically it's probably 3 to 4 months is where I find, without doing a lot of additional bacterial adding and things like that, where you can start to put the tougher hard coral in, and then the more finicky acropores, it's usually a couple months beyond that for them to work. But like I said, I've always done it in a very basic way, because I'm like, once I start playing with the chemicals, I go forward.
So this little guy here, there's a little tank there, that little Pico.
It's tiny.
So
cute.
it is.
Pretty.
That's fresh. That thing's new. I put some Chem Matrix in the sump of the display, and just let that thing hang out in there for 6-8 weeks, and then just put it in there. I haven't tested that tank other than salinity, and put a leather in there today, and it was happy. I had polyps. So I'll keep an eye on it. This is my office for however long I'm going to be up here. So I'll certainly be able to keep an eye on that tank.
Nice. Excellent. All right.
It's always the emergency water change to bail you out if things start to go sideways.
Yep.
This is true.
Never be
Everything
afraid to
downstairs.
Just take out the water and put in new water.
It's probably 2.5 gallons in there, so I could probably tough that one out.
Have a 2-liter bottle of salt water sitting there for emergencies. Done. All's well again.
My first tank, I like must have cycled like 12 times, because I was always in terror that like it was about to die. So I would just do a massive water change on it, and then that would reset the whole process over again, and so on and so forth. It went on for a couple months before it finally balanced out for me.
Slow but steady.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm afraid of. Like with a bigger tank, it's difficult to just do a water change. I'm used to like doing a water change actually makes a big impact and fix things. Now if I messed up, I messed up.
Yeah, but it's a little harder to mess up, right? You got to give it a pretty good effort to get that thing heading in the wrong direction.
That is
theoretically.
Don't add excessive amounts of fish at once like I did. Overall,
that's the biggest thing. Slowly add fish.
I added way too many at fast. I mean, which they're all fine, but I could tell some of my acros aren't as happy because there's like a ton of nutrients in the water just from having so many fish, and I didn't have a refugium going for the first few weeks and all this other stuff, so I'm gonna have to step up my water changes for the next few weeks and get it all back in the happy place.
Gotcha. I may have to start like quarantining fish. Like I've never done it. I've been lucky, but now it's more at risk, I think.
It's
coronavirus.
It was
Quarantine
interesting
yourself.
what you were saying before about adding fish too. Like it's almost a catch-22, because you adding all the fish together usually means that you have a better success rate with them getting along for whatever reason. At least that's what I've seen. Once they're established and you try to add new fish in, then the existing residents are like, "Oh no, you're not joining this group," and it's difficult. So it's kind of go with the species that are less aggressive up to the more aggressive as you add the fish in. Otherwise they'll typically tear the newcomers to pieces. And the same with chromis. Definitely, if you want to have any, or the only success I've ever had in keeping a bunch of them at once is to put a bunch in at once. If there's a couple in there and you try to put new ones in, they just dominate them. And you either remove them or they'll expire pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's
Great tip.
One of the catch-22s is adding all those trickier fish at once so that there's no territory yet, versus adding stuff slowly, but then there might be territory squabbles long term.
Moki, have you thought? Go ahead, Dev.
Oh no, sorry, I'll back 1 sec.
Moki, have you thought about using that display, not with copper, but with other treatments, just using the display as your quarantine since it's empty? Or are you thinking about getting another tank and put it on the desk where you're sitting?
So I think like the first batch of fish, I'm gonna treat the display as a quarantine. Just drop those fish in and just kind of let it rise, see if anything appears. After that, I'm thinking about keeping the mangrove tank up and running as like a macroalgae tank or something, and I'll maybe use that as a quarantine. It's like a 17-gallon tank. It's kind of small, but not terrible because I've seen quarantine tank as like 10-gallon for like a month or something, maybe okay. So I may do that unless I start doing something a little bit more with that little tank. I've been toying with the idea of maybe doing like a macroalgae / pipe fish tank. I think that might be cool. But if I go that route, then clearly it cannot be a quarantine tank. So we'll see. So to answer your question, like the first batch of fish, I'll use the display as a quarantine. But afterwards, I have to either use the 20-gallon or have like a quarantine system up and running.
Have you thought about how you're going to manage the fish your clowns? What are you going to do with those clowns?
I don't know,
Do
Jim.
the clowns stay in the mangrove tank until the new fish have proven to be okay?
So the thing is, like, I got two pairs of clowns right now, and also Ban's fish. So I got 5 clowns.
Yep.
So the Mocha Vinci clowns from the 45 is definitely going to the 135. Those are my babies. I've had them for like 5 years. The other pair of baby clowns, those tiny little guys, at least initially, I'm just going to dump them in here. And if it doesn't really work out, I'll move them to the mangrove tank maybe. And eventually, I don't know.
Okay.
And you will be able to take Ban's storm clown, right?
Yeah, I think that's going to go in there. I want to hit up DC. DC, you listening? I want to hit up DC for one of his rainbow nems and put it in this tank here. And I think maybe Ben's clown will be okay until he wants it back.
Paging DC Reefer. Paging DC.
Yeah, Jay, we just trade crap all over the place. And we had Mighty Nano Tank decided to leave the DC metro area and head off to Utah. So
what a guy.
Moki's got one of his. I have a bunch of his corals. And then we just have to we'll cut it all up and we'll give Dev some and we'll give Moki some, and then Ben will get the stock from his.
Best thing to do, best insurance you can have. I try to, once the tank's grown in, spread it all over the place so it survives when yours doesn't.
It's true.
I totally agree. Banking is the way to go.
It's always
banking.
No, it's true. Like, I have one of my buddies, we'd literally, anytime we get something new, it's like, all right, here's a branch. We just give each other because we know eventually, you know, you can always get it back if you need it. Quick shout out, Cruz. Thank you for the $20 super chat.
Nice, Cruz.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you. A couple questions that I saw earlier. I just want to quickly get before I forget about them. Someone's asking about adding dry rock to a tank that's already established and stuff. You're pretty safe there as long as you just don't want to remove a bunch of live rock and then replace with dry. But if you're just adding some dry to it, your live rock's already full of good bacteria, and that's still handling the load, so you're okay there. And other people were asking about mixing different bacteria together. Ideally, stick with one because certain strains of bacteria will fight or eat each other. So one bacteria might be consuming the other one. So for at least cycling bacteria, so best to just pick one brand or one company and to stick to that lineup at least for the initial cycle. And then once this stuff's established, I mean, you could add different stuff, but just for the initial bit, stick to one.
I have an interesting one on that. Is I've definitely had experience adding sand and new dry rock and seeing it have not a profound but a significant impact on the tank as the bacterial levels adjust to it. Depending on what you're doing, the one thing I've found is I've added, when I've needed more real estate, you can actually get away with very little extra rock, because the real thing that you're usually trying to do is create more space for coral. And once the tank's established and the coral grows quickly, then you can be a little bit more creative and minimalistic with the amount of extra rock you add, because you're always running in a reef tank. You're always running out of real estate. You start off with a tank that's 200 gallons of water and 20 gallons of rock, and by the end you've got a tank that's 150 gallons of coral and rock, because the coral grows and absorbs the volume.
It's true.
You know, that makes your tank actually a little bit less stable over the, you know, so I'm always trying to diminish the amount of rock in the tank. Just weird anecdote there.
You should 3D print a rock structure that's just a shell and let the coraling grow over top of it, and then there'll be no rock. It'll just be like coral as your rock eventually. Could be cool.
I so wanted to do that with the Pico, and I may still.
Yeah.
You know, and I talked about that before.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever saw that video, but a while back, in VR, I completely 3D modeled and printed out a mini version just for fun. But
yep, did the same thing.
Nice. Awesome. I think if you did it in like that vanilla or whatever, that like webby, holy type of structure, and then you just put corals on it randomly, it completely encrust over it over time. I think it'd look really cool.
Oh, totally. It would look super cool. So then you could print out whatever you wanted, right? It doesn't necessarily need to look like a rock.
Yeah, just
it could
funky
look like
shapes.
anything you want. Yep.
Let the coral encrust it and become it later. That'd be cool.
Could you even make it like
how's your art project coming along?
Oh, that thing's wicked. Did you see it?
I saw it when you just started.
All right.
But I wanted to see the final.
I'll grab it 1 second.
What'd you say, Moki? You were saying something.
I was saying that back then we were brainstorming too. We can make the structure kind of hollow at the bottom side and put like marine pure, that kind of media.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yep.
To increase like surface area too.
That's smart.
Oh, look at that. Dad, I was almost inspired to pull out my paintbrush and start doing some painting.
You should do it.
Oh, this is the painted coral pieces?
That was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that thing's awesome.
The green ones disappear. You can tell which ones are green. They're transparent. So yeah, super cool. I really like it.
That's a nice rock too, by the way.
That's awesome.
I just hot glue and some rubble rock together. Made it. All hot glue. And then these, I just used airbrush paint and painted them. Super cool. So I got a few other. I've actually had a few people reach out to me and be like, "Oh yeah, I got a big stash of skeletons. Will you paint some?" And do. So I might do some more. A couple of people I know that have worked in stores and stuff for like, they said they have a stash of some really cool skeletons they might send my way. So I'm like, woohoo, more to paint.
Awesome. You should make it like hangable.
Ooh, totally could.
Yeah, make it like almost like one of those like vertical garden kind of deal. Just make sure it doesn't stick out too far, or you may poke your eyes out at night.
Jabbed by the coral. I bought a strip of UV LEDs. I'm gonna mount underneath my fireplace little edge, so you'll get a bit of coral pop glowing at night. I think it looks cool.
That's awesome.
OCD Reefer. Do you prefer the XR15 Pro or Blue? You did not watch my last video.
I have a vote.
All right. I don't know. I kind of said I'm probably going to do the pros on my tank. I like a little bit whiter of a light in the daytime. I like both, right? Like I like the white crispy look, but I also like the coral pop. So generally I have my tank go from blue, then pretty darn white in the day, then back to blues at night. So I'm probably do the pros on mine. Oh, and Moki, there's a question earlier for you, speaking of lighting, of what you're doing on your tank for lights.
Yeah, don't pay attention, Jay.
All right, so I thought long and hard over this. I remember like ever since I was a reefer, like maybe like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I've always been impressed by metal halite. I've always wanted to try metal halites.
You're going to it? Crazy, man.
I love it. Okay. Yeah, it's like so powerful. Maybe like I was debating between like 150, 250, or 400 watts. 400 maybe overkill. 250 radium seems to be the go-to, and I may pair with like T5s. I think that those are like the classics. I've never had a chance to try it.
You're going to do that in the winter, and that's how you're going to heat your basement?
Yeah, you might as well order a chiller while you're at it.
And these days, you can't really go out to the beach as well, so I want to get a tan. So I hear I could give us a tan as well, and I'll charge people addition, right? No, Radions. Come on. Radions. Been a big fan of Radions, and so I intend to continue that route.
Which ones? What are you going to go with?
We'll see.
We'll see?
That's actually a really good question.
Question. I mean, like, obviously, your video talked about it, but debating between Pro and Blue as well. So,
okay.
But I run the AB program, AB+.
Okay. If you're running AB+, the blues are basically 100% AB+.
Yeah.
So, quick and dirty, if you want AB+, which like a massive chunk of people do, that's why they have the blue, it's 100% tuned AB+. You put everything on full and just drag your overall slider up and down, and you're set for AB+. If you want to mess with it more, if you want to play with the different little color highlights of other colors, then the Pro is a bit of a thing. Now, being a YouTuber, with the Pros, you can also up your whites, and you can do a little bit more, which is better for photography. So other food for thought.
Got it. I think like I'm pretty set on Radeon. I guess like additional question I have is how to not so much customize, but how to make it even better. Like, can I do voice control? Have you figured that out yet? If you pair with some kind of controller or
for Radeons?
Yeah.
I think actually on ESL there was a few Alexa commands. You were using them.
Yep.
I think you did feed my thread.
Yeah, no,
But
I
yeah, I
had.
mean, obviously, there'll be more. There's more potential for that with the new platform,
Mhm.
Excellent.
Mobius, and obviously, we've got to get through the current. We keep saying legacy products, but it's the current products which were built on ESL, and then once we're switched over completely to Mobius and we have everybody upgraded to the new platform, then yeah, I mean, there's a lot of development, and that could be a very, I think is everything in your house goes more and more voice controlled. It's
Mhm.
definitely something that people will want to see, is the ability to adjust or particularly run scenes.
100%.
Yeah.
Like
Feed
put
mode,
my tank in V mode, or
photo mode, or
Oh,
watch a
photo
movie
mode,
mode.
yeah.
feed, water change, things like that. When you don't want to
Mhm.
be getting your phone out, for example.
That'd be
And,
sweet.
I mean,
We
Yeah,
I don't know about you guys, but we seem to get a new Alexa device every week practically anymore. So
Mhm.
kids see them. Yeah,
You bought them for
yeah.
Yeah.
And you,
Yeah, I think like I would love that if I can voice control. Say I want to take photos or videos and just set it to a scene. I
Mhm.
mean, I have so many questions regarding like ecotech and stuff, but obviously I don't want to turn it into like a commercial kind of deal. So I've been holding back. I'm like, so as
You-
things comes up, I mean, ask some
Ask
questions.
ask away. I'll answer for Jay if he doesn't.
Ah, one big question I have a boatload of questions. It's like
Yeah.
obviously with the whole COVID-19 going on and stuff like that, should we be worried? Should we start stocking up now? Like, should I
Uh,
start buying
on,
things up, or do you feel like things are
on,
still
you're talking about from an industry perspective. I
let's just
mean,
say
so
from
so
yeah.
we're currently, like our company, for example, and this is probably true of most of or a lot of the pet manufacturers and retailers, because we successfully got the exception um, to continue production. Obviously, what that means is it's at a limited capacity compared to what it normally would be, because we have to take proper measures to ensure everybody's safety on site, and that's mask, gloves, space, no unnecessary personnel there. In terms of components, we do a lot of manufacturing here, and we have a lot of inventory in transit, so we've largely been unimpacted from a supply chain perspective of stuff coming in. So we are building our shipping. We also have our service department is also open and operating at limited capacity, including doing some physical service. I would imagine, I can't obviously speak for any other manufacturers, but I'm sure that that's probably the case. At least the U.S. based ones. Beyond that, it's hard to say. It's the same as with everything. It's just almost a week by week. As far as we're concerned, because we're a small business, we we want to be operating, and we want to be shipping product and generating cash flow. Obviously, because that way you can pay all your employees and continue to operate. But at the same time, obviously, we're adjusting the way we do business to make sure that we can keep doing business as long as possible. So in terms of product, yeah, I mean, I don't know if the stocking up on our equipment per se is necessary, or probably any of the others. We're making it and shipping it as fast as we can. There's a lot of demand in our system, based on the fact that we just launched the Versa and the Gen 5, and but I think they'll become fairly available in the next couple of months.
Okay.
So I wouldn't worry too much about that. And I would imagine, I mean, that is a very interesting question to ask. It's almost more the food and the additives, which is what people are typically stocking up on anyway.
Mhm.
Because it never hurts to have a little extra on hand.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether whether those companies are producing. I mean, I was talking to Lou down at Worldwide today. They're spending the time to improve their online business. Their ability to supply coral,
Mhm.
through their online store. And I mean, you guys have all been there. You know how much coral they have and how much they're growing at any given time. So I'm pretty sure we'll have coral, at least from them, for quite a while, even if we can't get it from overseas. But yeah, it's
Mhm.
an interesting question.
Yeah, as long
Yeah.
as shipping maintains, right? And it looks like shipping is still there for us.
I think shipping and internet in the U.S. are probably going to be the last two things that would ever get shut down because we're pretty reliant on those two things as a
Yeah.
society at this point.
It's interesting to see the Amazon slow down a little bit, but on for some items.
It's still flowing though, and I think
Yep.
logistics is probably going to stay open, right? Because either way, economy is going to be like shut down if you can't get any products or any supplies, right? So that's going to keep on going. Everything.
I think that's the thing. Like looking at my own life, like I was saying earlier, I think that's. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I mean, for Devin, this is business as usual. For me, it's a new life of being at home, being a short order cook, being a stay-at-home dad, and being online and talking to the Reefing community and things like that. But I'm getting into a new routine, and as I'm getting into a new routine, now I'm starting to be like, maybe I need a new tool to work on the garden or what have you, or a new light or pump or something of that nature. And as that happens, I'm kind of getting into a new routine, a new way of life that's different, but still requires and still caters to my hobbies and interests. So.
That's good. We actually bought a bunch of wood to build a little garden box thing too, so that's going to happen in the next week or so. Speaking of gardens. Yep. I was laughing.
And you're going full ahead with your aquarium because you were before, to you this isn't any different, right? So
no, I work, like, for me, I guess I'm lucky in this situation, but I work from home, so I'm like busier now than I am normally, so there's been no change. I actually have less time now, so it's like but yeah, life goes on. Do what you got to do. So
Cool.
no. On a random side note, my wife snagged one of my LED fixtures she was using to start plants. So Reef lights also work for gardening.
Indeed.
Yeah.
That's where all the old ones go.
Yeah. Yosef Fishmission, I'm saying your name wrong. 20 Seek. Thank you. What do you think of the new Red Sea Energy Plus? I have not used the new one, but I have used the 2-part. And it seems to do well. I know a few buddies that swear by it, so I bought some aside to try it. But I don't know if it's like an amino acid exactly or what it is, but so far so good.
I was bummed. I was hoping it was going to be refrigeration free. Nope. And then you got to perform some level of cleaning when you refill your container once a week. I was just bummed. I wanted to go that. Yeah. It's in the instructions. So before you refill, you need to clean with soapy water. Then I was a little concerned about the tubing. I suppose that's not a problem. And for some, they're going to be totally into just cleaning out that jug real quick and refilling and being good for a week. But
yeah, it's a lot of work.
I'm a big Trace Colors fan, and I just wanted to switch. But I'll stick where I am.
Yeah, that's fair. So Trace Colors, have you ever overdosed it and noticed certain colors take over in your corals?
I haven't. They all dose. Okay. They all dose. I started super slow because I was really worried about it. Iodine, Moki's had problems with iodine before, and I was just really concerned. So I just brought it up very slowly in ICP to get it dialed in, and it seemed to work out okay. Did you see the same? Have you done it?
Well, I've overdosed it. I noticed like the reds and oranges like consuming certain corals. Like it was like the rainbow Monty was almost all red. Like some of them completely took over until I dialed back.
You overdosed all 4 or just like one of the ones that were hitting reds?
I think I overdosed them all likely.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Can you guys do a video on flow dynamics of the MP40, MP60? I feel like that already exists on the Ecotech channel somewhere. There's some older videos.
I mean, I think if he has a specific question, I'm sure most people who use the pumps can answer it. They can pretty much do anything like flow-wise.
Yep.
So they produce wide, broad, gentle flow, and a lot of it, and that's pretty much the Vortec.
Yep. And there's no cords in the tank?
Yeah. If you want to get water to go over the top and down, then there are a number of gyre type pumps or gyre style pumps that will do that. But in terms of programmable, controllable in-tank pumps,
Mm-hmm.
Vortex probably the way to go.
Yep, I agree. Gyres work well for a bit, but then they like lose so much flow so quick, and you got to clean them all the time, so they're a pain in the butt. That's my experience, anyways, with the couple that I've played with.
They are.
They do have that very unique flow of pushing water over the top of your tank, but
Yep.
yeah.
Pretty much. What else did I skip for questions earlier? A couple of people asking what I feed my fish, or what does everyone feed their tanks? I feed a whole smorgasbord of different stuff. I'm a big fan of the whole variety and not just feeding the same thing all the time. So I mix it up quite a bit. All right, Jim, what do you feed?
Fish are surprisingly indiscriminate too.
Yeah,
they eat a lot of different foods.
Yes, they do. So
I think one of the things to look out for those is foods are not all created equal though in terms of how much impurity and other material is in the food. So that's something to pay attention to when you're using a food, to see how it's affecting the tank parameters of the time.
Yep.
Never feed.
A lot of the super cheap foods too are full of a lot of like fillers, like ash and stuff. So weird little baby
wants to see your toes.
Oh man, Emily, Brandon want to see the tolls.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, sorry, like quick
That's
sidebar.
April 1st.
Quick break, I guess. Yeah, so basically, this morning I woke up, I went downstairs, washed dishes, washed the milk bottles, and I looked down. I was like, oh, there's a little flower petal stuck to my toes. And I look a little bit closer. Nope, Emily painted my toes last night. All right.
When you're
so that's the toe that Emily was referring to.
Wait, you didn't notice it this morning? So she did it while you were sleeping?
She did it while I was sleeping. Like I sleep earlier. I sleep around like 7 o'clock. She sleep like 4 a.m.
Yeah, there's random Moki sleeping pictures all over the internet.
Man, I don't know how I feel about those. I feel something.
Oh, dang.
All right, IG.
Oh no.
Account just for you.
No, for my toes.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm wearing my. This is my sandals I'm wearing right now. This is to help Emily get over her fear for fish.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Or does she just like squirm and jump whenever she steps on your slippers?
She actually
like to step on that.
Yeah, she was actually really comfortable wearing it. Like she was wearing it before. Anyway, sorry, tangent. Since Remy asked.
No, that's fair. They're very lovely toenails you have.
Thank you. You don't see them tomorrow.
No, it's gonna be gone.
They'll be gone. They'll be gone.
It'll be back.
Did you guys get pranked today?
No, I don't think anyone even knew. There was. Oh, speaking of which, a couple of people.
Yeah, April 1st. Huh?
Yeah.
He just realized.
Wow.
Survived.
Maybe you should
Time has no meaning. Every day's a Monday.
like
Every day's a Monday, yeah. Even my daughter has lost track. She was like, "Is today Tuesday?"
Yep.
Oh.
If I don't know if any of you guys saw it, Moki, you were in it, but we did that yesterday. Metro Cat actually arranged us all, but we did a Staying Alive spoof thing, but it's about staying inside. So I posted that to the Facebook page. I thought about playing it on the stream, but I don't know if there's any copyright strikes or anything. So just on Facebook for now. But if you guys haven't seen it, go watch it. It was kind of fun little randomness from yesterday.
Yeah, that was a fun video. So check it out on. Def, you posted it on your Facebook, right?
Yep, just facebook.com/reefviews. It should be the last post I think posted, so or second last. So, but yeah, no, it was kind of funny. Completely random.
That was fun time.
It was good.
It was fun time.
We'll have to come up with some new randomness to keep ourselves entertained for the next little while. All right, guys. If you got any other questions in the chat, let us know. I probably skipped some. If I did, I apologize. So feel free to ask again. So, anything else? Everyone's keeping busy. Tanks are happy.
Can I share a little bit of what I'm trying to do?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you.
What are you
You're so
trying to
generous.
do? Anytime I gift you a yes.
Thank you.
That was a lot of buildup. I hope this
Yeah. So I'm kind of like I've been a laptop guy for a long time. I'm trying to build like a new PC for content creation and gaming, but on the side, there are two things I want to do. Number one, I want to be able to do some live stream as well and run OBS. Before, I think like we tried, but it was chugging so bad. And later on, I look it up. People are like, "Yeah, man, your 2015 MacBook is not going to cut it." So I was like, "All right, well, let's get a desktop." And the other thing to try is actually 3D printing, specifically for products that I could use in the hobby as well. I'm going to start with like controller holder and stuff like that, right? To make things neat. So I think like at that point, I'm going to reach out to you guys and ask you guys for help. Like in terms of like, what do you guys use to model 3D things, and like, what do you use to print them, and etc. Like for a moderate, or maybe let's just say humble, for a humble 3D printing setup, right? What, like, how much does it cost?
Couple $100 for like a kit.
When you say 100, are you talking about like 200 or 900? Because both of them are like a couple hundreds.
No, like $300, $400. You can get a decent build it yourself.
Or 8.
Is there like a big jump in quality between like 400 and 800?
It's how much time you're trading, money versus time. If you buy like $1,000 one, it's pre-built, it's in a box, you plug it in, it likely will be close to working. If you spend $200-$300, it's a kit, you build it yourself, and you're going to be tinkering with it to dial it in. That's
how
kind
about
of
the quality? How about the quality of the print?
You can get awesome prints out of either. It's just you spending, a couple days of your life basically tinkering and fine tuning it and like figuring it all out. So it's a bit of...
That's why I did. Yeah, that's why I didn't go that direction. So mine's a kit. It's the i3 Mark III, but it's a little more money.
Okay, got it.
Still under $800.
Okay,
but
that's
put the thing together.
Yeah,
when it's done, you can come over and stand outside my window and look at it.
I'm the guy like peeking in.
You can't come in. You can only look through the window.
That's fine. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
As I was reading more into it, it sounds like a lot of company actually uses like 3D printing to do rapid prototyping.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I did it at work. Yep.
We do.
Jay, you guys, is that what you do?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a huge difference to be able to do that now. It's I mean, on your plastic components and things like that, and also just for things where you just need them for short periods of time or in production. Then you don't have to make a mold and create a piece of equipment. You can just print it, as you need it. So it's really cool. And yeah, there's like an infinite thing. I mean, there's actually a whole world of like stuff for our product, Devin's designed some stuff. Somebody did a really nice, I think it was Jimmy Cox did a really nice Versa mount 3D that you can 3D print. One of our guys in-house did a conversion block for the HMS to mount radions on, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
And so there's just all kinds of stuff like that. And I think that's where it really comes into its own around aquariums.
That's
Tooth
awesome.
holders, like mounts, wire clips, things like that. Like just
100% mounts.
Endless useful little accessories.
Yeah. Like before...
Yeah, Go ahead, sorry.
No, yeah, like just looking at my tank beside me, I got like 3D printed like dosing tube holders to keep them all straight and lined up. Yeah. I've had pump holders so I could like rest a little dosing pump on the edge of my sump. I've done that. I have like for the Prime Fuge, those flaps I made so I don't get algae growing in my skimmer. Like there's so many little useful things.
Your imagination, that's it. You're limited by that. And if that doesn't work, you just get into Thingiverse and find a whole bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah. It was like when I started 3D modeling, it was like I would design all my own stuff, and then I realized that 90% of everything has already been done by other people. So you just get into the library, and it's like an endless tables and chairs and anything you can imagine is in there.
Yeah,
dude, that's awesome.
Always search first. If you can't find it, then you make it.
Okay.
And if you can't find it, ask Dev, because he's probably got it hiding at home.
Probably true.
Yeah, I wonder, like, do companies like, for example, Ecotech, since like Jay's here, like, do you guys have like kind of a link to all the 3D models out there for like your products, or do you guys kind of keep it separate?
We haven't done that yet, but actually, we were talking about doing it particularly with the Versa, and that may be something that comes along. I hate to like say we're gonna do something until we actually do it, but yeah, I mean, because there's a lot of those sorts of accessories which we actually design in-house, but commercially they might not be worthwhile for us to cut molds and pull into the supply chain, because that's not our company, that's not what we do, but designing this stuff is easy. So that is something that we are actually looking at, is sort of making available a whole bunch of stuff that we use around the office, for example, for people to use.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I think a lot Appreciate that.
Yep, definitely.
Cool.
If you buy
I will
this one
make
from
note to bring that up again.
Yep.
if you buy from the Czech Republic, if you get your printer from the Czech Republic, you get some
Free
Ooh,
candy.
this
some gummy bears too.
You're
That's how they roll.
Free candy
Sold.
with every 3D printer.
Exactly.
Don't take candy from
from
strangers.
you one step at a time. And first, now look that way. The other reason I want to look into like 3D printing also is because I feel like VR. I feel like that is the future. And with 3D printing, you kind of deal with like remodeling already. You're halfway there to creating contents.
For organic structures, it's really cool. I mean, like I wouldn't use VR to make like like some perfectly mounted like holder for something. But if you want to make like rocks and organic and funky shapes, and VR is really cool because you could just like paint in 3D, right?
Yeah, I saw your video. It looks amazing the way you kind of sculpted it.
Oh, the cool thing is you could like blow it up and then like walk inside. Be like, oh, so this is what it looks like to be the fish in this cave.
And you can spin it.
Yeah,
That is cool.
super cool. Maybe I should hook up the
That is
VR. I'm gonna do a live stream 3D modeling one day. That'll be intense.
Wait, that would be awesome.
Do it.
You can just
Okay.
project it green screen and
Yeah,
That
I'll
would
do
be-
this. All right, I'll do this one day just for fun.
yeah. You know what else I want to do? I want to do for a while I was trying to do the 3D camera. I know Jim was big into it. Like drop a 3D camera inside a tank so you can kind of play around and that'd be
Yeah, the
cool.
Insta 360.
Yeah.
Is it waterproof?
But I
That's
think
pretty
like underwater you need those housing, right? Special housing.
Yeah,
so
you
that
do.
afford it. Yeah.
Is it more than
Lots
the
of
camera?
fun things.
What's that?
Is the housing more than the camera?
No, actually,
Okay,
the
good.
housing was reasonable, and the housing would have to be kind of expensive to beat an Insta 360 price.
Yeah. How would you mount an XR15 blue on a 17-inch deep tank? Same as any other tank. Just use the little the arm mount for it and bolt it on. You're done. It sits around the 8.5 inches above the water, roughly. Golden. Using
I like
mine.
the blue. I'm
Yeah,
seeing
I
some of the.
determined that's the optimum mounting height for the Radeon.
Yeah.
Yep. Right on the money. Right out of the box. You're good. Looking for a proper heater. BRS has gotten bad reviews. I actually have the BRS ones right now. It works fine. So either BRS or the not so compact EHIM Jaggers are the main two I use. On the tank beside me, I got the Neotherm.
The titanium ones.
Mm-hmm.
How's the hysteresis on the BRS branded Inkbirds? We had talked about that. I wondered if you had noticed. Because I know what a regular Inkbird is, but I wondered if the BRS ones were a little tighter.
I'll go look and ask you, or ask me in a bit, and I'll go look.
Yeah,
It's my heater controller is hidden behind my mounting board, so I gotta pop it off to go play with it. I think I have it set to like 0.5 degree or something right now. I don't know if I can set it tighter. I might be able to. Inkbird one, I got Wi-Fi, so you can probably check it now, but it's fairly tight.
All right. Yeah, the non-Wi-Fi Inkbirds are set to 1, so it's just 1 degree. You can't tighten that up.
Okay, I feel like mine's more though through the app with the Wi-Fi
Okay.
version. Yeah.
Gotta have that
Nice.
one.
Speaking of Inkbirds, there one is. What else we got here? Printing a face mask holder. There you go. Can even print health supplies for it.
There's been a whole lot of people out there doing stuff like that. So Smarter Every Day, Destin, he's been working with actually his Glowforge, doing some of that work with a ventilator. There's a whole lot of 3D printing of masks, etc., or face shields. It's pretty cool to see the geek community jump in to help out. So much so, I think Travis Fish of Hex was talking about there's a supply issue now with filament. Some of the filaments that he's looking for, he can't get.
Oh, really? Ah.
I would like that to be because the geeks are jumping in to help out. Hopefully that's the case.
Hopefully. Never know.
Or they got over their toilet paper issues and then they moved on to filament.
I don't know, man. There's still no toilet paper when I go to the grocery
Where's your
store.
Predator mask? Is your Predator mask HEPA approved?
It's in the attic. It's cool though. Where did I post that? I posted Instagram back in the day. Let me find a photo. I 3D printed a Predator mask with intentions of Halloween, which I haven't actually used it for anything yet, but it was super cool.
That's nice.
I'll find it. But yeah, I don't know. 3D printers are fun. Just buy one. You can build cool stuff. You won't regret it. It'll be like frustrating for like a day or two until you get it dialed in, and then after that you'll be golden. Jay, do you have a 3D printer?
No, I have Harry.
Fair.
That is fair.
You have somebody with a
He's
3D printer.
very good. I go and draw a bunch of bad sketches in his office, and then something cool arrives.
that sounds much more efficient way of 3D printing. Something
I know
like
I
this.
talked about it, but
I do really enjoy 3D modeling, though.
Mhm.
I think it's a wonderful activity. I find it. I mean, we do all our trade show. I do all our trade show booths, and like we have new office being assembled for us, and it's cool to just design all of that,
Mhm.
in 3D. I mean, I find that's what I like it most for is bigger projects too, where it gives you a real understanding of the spaces involved, which you
Mhm.
just can't get from a 2D drawing.
Yep.
It's true.
So
Even
it's amazing what's available to just us these days. We live in a good time,
We-
I guess, other than the fact we have a virus on
Aside-
the loose.
aside from that, but yeah, it is crazy what you can do. Like, I 100% agree with you on the modeling. Like, I've already 3D modeled the new tank I'm probably going to do, and then like even that like all-in-one nano I built, I like modeled that in 3D and figured out my baffles and everything, and then just flattened it back down and got a laser cut. But you can just build so many cool things.
SketchUp is a brain saver.
Yes, it is. I can't find the predator photo. It's making me sad now.
Bummer.
I know.
Later.
Yeah, I'm still scrolling.
You're
Somewhere.
you're failing miserable lately on the B-roll content for this live stream.
Yeah, that's because I don't have free time lately. I work too much. Free time is a myth that I hear some people have, and you make me jealous. How many gallons is your Lagoon tank? It's roughly 60 gallons. I have 40 gallon. It's an all-in-one. Thinking about buying the 40 gallon external they made so I can plumb in a sump. If you have a sump, you'll spend much more money on gear. But it's nice to have the option to put in fancier, higher-end gear. If you have just an all-in-one, I mean, technically you'll save money because you won't be buying all the fancy gear because you just can't fit it. So it's a trade-off.
Or if you get bored, you can add a sump to an all-in-one.
Yeah, you could just drill the back. I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
Sounds like a terrible idea.
It works.
What I see the other day.
Well, it's full of water. You did this while the tank was operational and running.
Yeah.
No, I didn't, but I did virtually help somebody do it. They just drained it down a little bit, got the water below the drill point, and then Savage Reefer on Instagram, he did it, and it worked out well.
Mm-hmm.
The second tank.
Yep.
The first one cracked when he punched through with the drill.
Yep.
Savage.
Smash. Buy another all-in-one. Try again.
Yeah, I mean, if
that is 100% what
if you got
happened.
a friend with a nice established tank who's planning on
Uh-oh.
Yep. Oh,
doing that,
there you go. You froze for a sec there.
am I back? I
Yeah,
think my
you're back.
computer went into hibernation.
Mike, anyone given a recent coral sales? $2 super chat, thank you. Yes, I have. I recently got a gold torch, what I'm pretty stoked for because I've won one of those for
Awesome.
many moons.
Oh, how much you spent? Can I ask?
No.
It's better, right?
I got a decent deal.
Okay.
And if Mighty Nanotank's watching, it's not a frag from yours.
No, I got 2 heads of a really nice one that's nice and happy in my tank right now, so I'm pretty
Very
stoked
cool.
for it. But then I had to like spend a fortune on shipping, so then I bought a bunch of other stuff I probably didn't need to justify spending money on shipping, so the deal's gone. But it was still good. But yeah, no, I'm pretty stoked for it. How much are gold torches out there? Are they still crazy?
I want to say is roughly what 200 a head.
Yeah, a couple
Jim?
$100.
Yep. How,
That's better than it was, though. I think didn't
Oh,
you got
yeah.
it to almost like $400 a head
Yeah.
for a nice
Mhm.
one.
Yeah.
Or you just wait for somebody to move.
yeah. I remember like last year at some of the shows, like the Dragon Soul Torch, which I had tons of it. That was like anywhere from 500 to 800 a head. I'm like, what? I'm like, I got like 10 heads of that at home. It's like crazy how expensive it was down there.
You're coral millionaire.
Right? If only someone would buy that for that much here. But here it's like $250 a head maybe. But in the States it was like $500 to $800. If I can only take this down and be like, start hawking it at shows.
There's a big question about
Yep.
Gen 5 XR15s.
How many G5 XR15 blues for 130 gallon LPS Peninsula tank? Thinking of 4 as I plan on a few SPS as well. 130 gallons. What are the dimensions? I'm going to assume that's like a 5-foot tank, maybe? Confirm, though, on the dimensions. Because it really comes down to dimensions more than anything.
5-foot tank, probably 3.
Yeah. The thing is...
We were just having this conversation the other day. Go ahead, Devin. You're the expert.
The thing is, you can always add more later, right?
Yep.
So start with 2, start with 3, and if you feel you need more, just add another one later. Like, I don't know. This is why I originally went with, because everyone always asks me, they're like, oh, why do you have 15s and not 30s? Because I was like, oh, I had a 3-foot tank, and I was like, all right, I can buy 130, but it's like 2 to 2.5 feet. I'm like, I can get 215, space them, perfect spread. And then I upgraded my tank. I was like, oh, I'll just add on another puck or 2. I upgraded my tank again. I'll just add on another puck. Like, you can just add as you grow. So as you advance in the hobby, as you get more corals in there, just add on another puck. Like, it's just a really easy way. You're not selling and rebuying fixtures, right? You're just adding onto it. So that's why I like them. So I would say start with 3. And then if you need it, add another one later. But 3 is a good start. And then as your tank is packed, buy a 4th. That's what I do.
The G5 spread is pretty ridiculous, too.
It really is.
Seen.
It's impressive. Quite impressive how much you can do with it. So, especially for LPS, like, heck, you might even be able to get away 2 on there. But if you're Nacros and stuff, I would personally probably do 3 and then probably upgrade to 4 eventually, is what I'm assuming I would end up doing. So, that's my advice.
I like that. The emitter layout on that thing is awesome, Jay. You guys did the right thing. It's awesome.
Good work, Jay.
Yeah, the R&D team did a really good job with that. Just the combination of the LED placement and the HEI optics, like, really. Yep. I think in another month or 2 we'll have the diffuser. I mean, I have a couple of the prototypes, and that's pretty cool too, because it just adds another, piece of flexibility to what you can do with the radions in terms of how you like the light is really what it comes to, more so than having an impact on the coral. But
will the G4 fuser magnet onto it, or is that a different magnet layout?
Actually, that's a good question. Well, they're kind of different because the
fan.
Yeah, the fan, exactly. The whole lens is different, but I mean, the G5 diffuser is nice because it's got the magnets integrated, and they're already integrated into the faceplate. So
yeah, that's nice.
You don't have to remove anything. It just goes right there. You just put it on, and that's it. But yeah, I mean, the next time we're on a video chat, like I have them on my tank, I could show you the one on and off kind of thing.
Okay, that'd be good.
That'd be cool.
$2 super chat from Mike. Thank you, Mike. He asks, how can I make my MP10s Bluetooth? So it depends on how old your MP10s are. Newer ones will likely already have capability, but it is not yet enabled. So over the next few months, more of the products will start to open that back up. Now, if you have one of the older drivers, you can likely buy a little RF chip to do it. Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's good.
Yeah. If you go into EcoSmart Live, and we have a lot of information on this, which will be made available. We're just not doing it until it's a little closer to the time when we provide the upgrade on the public version of the app. Otherwise, people will rush to do it right now, and it will just create more confusion. So we want to kind of keep it as organized to roll out as possible. But if you go into EcoSmart Live right now, you can see whether or not a piece of equipment needs to have the RF module upgraded, or whether it's running the current version that would only need a firmware update. And you can do that on the devices tab in EcoSmart Live.
There you go. Perfect.
Super easy to do that upgrade. I've done it several times.
Me as well. Super duper easy. Yorsif Reef. Any idea how to remove white algae? I've never seen a white algae before. Sounds more like a sponge.
Bacteria?
I don't know. Generally, if algae dies, it will turn white. But I've never seen algae that's just straight up white before.
Yeah, Antonio just had an outbreak of what he thought might have been white algae, but it was bacteria.
Yeah, or
So it
sponges.
looks like, well, it looked like hair algae.
Just stringy. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was white bacteria.
There you go. Still two still new in the box. Yeah, if it's a new one, it probably has the newer chip in it, and you'll probably be good to go once it's integrated to Mobius.
Yep.
There you go. I apologize if I tease in videos because I was beta testing it, so sometimes it shows all my gear in there. When they're slowly being released as time goes on and everything gets all the bugs worked out and it's ready for prime time in the public version.
Yeah, and I think people running Mobius on Versa and Gen 5, for them who have not been running the beta version, and I say that because obviously when you're running a beta, you're coming along in the development process with us. But in terms of the public release, it seems to be pretty solid and very well received. We have a large number of our retail community in Australia and the UK where internet connectivity with ESL was consistently an issue, already running it on their stores, on all of their equipment. So yeah, it seems to have definitely I think the future is bright with respect to that for sure. But we just want to make sure that everybody gets to have a good experience with it. And whenever you do an upgrade, there's always a little bit of lifting involved, both us and our user community, to make sure that it goes. Exactly. Timing couldn't be worse with with what's going on in the world, but as far as I know, the programming and everything else is taking place in the background.
Nice.
So yeah, still on track.
Programming in isolation.
Yep.
Yeah. I do appreciate how responsive it is. Even like when I was filming a video, you move the slider and like a split second later it's reacting. Not even like, it's almost instantaneous. Like, it's amazing how quick it goes from the app to the light. Like, it's like lightning fast. So that part I really appreciate.
Yeah. That was a good video. That was a good run through. Gave everybody a good idea what the lights could do.
Thank you. More to come. Still got more to do, but it's good stuff. It's exciting. Lots of new fun toys on the market. A couple people earlier were asking about controllers and Ecotech controllers, and I figured I'd just throw this one out here because one thing that's cool is you don't need a controller because every piece of equipment works together. So it's like you have a controller without actually buying a controller, which I think is a cool direction that Mobius is kind of morphing into.
Yeah, and I mean it'll be an evolving platform. And hopefully not just our equipment. I mean, obviously we have two brands to start with, and we distribute D&D and NIOS, so there's immediately some cooperative opportunity there. But the intention is certainly not to make it, only for Ecotech branded products. The hard thing with any kind of integration when you go with that approach to integration, though, is that they have to use the same communication protocol. So stuff that people already have on the market is not going to be stuff that's easily integratable with what we have now. But maybe the next generation of products from some of our, some of the other manufacturers in the industry would be able to incorporate it.
Yeah.
So, there's exciting stuff there. And I mean, we as a company, our main goal is the success of the whole hobby and the community as much as it is obviously being a competitor in the space. So, I think there's a lot of opportunity there as we go forward.
Nice. Well, it's exciting. I'm excited to see what comes out of it and kind of turns into in the future. But yeah, it's nice to have that capability without having to buy a controller, which I think is like a huge kind of selling point, right? Because like I don't need a controller for mode, I could do it all through the one app, which is cool. So it's good. I like it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we've been fairly straightforward. I mean, obviously we're working on Power Bar, which will give you control over devices which are not immediately wirelessly controllable through Mobius, and then probes and whatnot are also in the works, so that you have the input devices, because the controllability, you need feedback from, or else you're helping the machine rather than the machine giving you the information you need to tell it what to do, I guess.
No, makes it more smart and reactive on its own, which will be sweet. Good
Did I
stuff
just
coming.
hear power bar and probes?
Yes,
like,
power bar
oh.
probes.
You're like, what? Wait, what?
Hold on a second, what? Is there any ETA? I'm just kind of curious. I mean, you don't have to answer it, but
I have learned never to give ETAs on our products.
got it.
I can tell you it's being actively worked on, and as you've noticed by the speed with which we've been releasing products, there's a lot of the major hurdles have been in our development have been overcome already. So things are progressing pretty quickly at this point. But yeah,
Nice.
shouldn't be
Good to
too
hear.
long.
Good.
Obviously, this is part of our whole.
The future is bright.
Exactly.
Excellent. I like it. Okay, tips on beginner SPS not encrusting. Time.
Time and stability, right?
When you add a new coral to your tank, it usually takes, a few weeks, could be a couple of months until that coral settles in and adapts to your tank. And then once it settles in, it will start to grow and thrive. But corals don't like change. And if it's a new coral, you moved it from another system, or your tank is new and things aren't stable yet, but they just like stability. And once they adapt, they're happy.
Some species encrust and some grow vertically.
Yeah.
And actually, one of the other things, which I think I found out from watching one of Jake's videos, is that certain corals actually grow better in horizontal positions. That in nature, where they come from in the ocean, they prefer to grow on the sides of rocks as opposed to on flat surfaces, which is interesting.
That was a Scully he was talking about in that one, because I actually tried moving mine a little bit. It's like, I'm curious, and I put it more sideways.
The other thing too is when we did our Car Lab study, lower light caused more horizontal growth than higher light. Now, the caveat there is they were both running the same DLI, so the same overall light through the course of the photo periods, but the shorter photo period with the higher intensity had more vertical structure in the morphology of the coral than longer photo period lower light. But that's fairly high level. Comparatively, not necessarily something that somebody should be worrying about. I think the best answer was the one you guys gave. Just threw that in there.
Now, if you guys do want to, I actually did a really good video on that exact thing about DLI with Patrick from Reef Wholesale. So if you guys dig in the archives, there's a really good one where we kind of walked through his facility and talked all about DLI and kind of their results and what they found on it. That was a good video I did kind of last summer.
One of the things that's just, is not to go off on a huge tangent here. One of the things I think is interesting, I was talking to Jake about this recently, is that, and this comes up periodically in the hobby, but what happens is there's a lot of things which we as a community talk about that we don't really elaborate on. And a lot of the information that we put out, and when I say we, I mean that circulates to somebody who isn't intimately familiar with it, it's actually can be more confusing or more damaging than helpful. And one of the things we were talking about specifically was PAR. It's like people always ask, like, well, what PAR are you running? And that kind of information is like, well, it depends on your tank, it depends on your coral, all sorts of things. And so a number isn't necessarily what you're looking for. What's more useful is to be able to look at your coral and be able to get a feel for whether or not it's happy, which is a very difficult thing to just verbally explain, what a happy coral looks like. But that's part of becoming a hobbyist, and just kind of trusting and learning as you go along. And you're probably, you're going to have some setbacks, but you will get success, and you will kind of get that look and feel for yourself. So.
And part of having a coral for a while too, right? So you know what it looks like when it's happy versus just surviving. And I think that's something that you don't really get until you've been in it long enough. Like, I know some people, they'll just look at it and be like, oh yeah, you're low on this mineral. Like, they'll just know because they know the coral just staring at it for so long and kind of know what it looks like. And like, oh, dose a little more of this, they'll be happier. Like, but it takes years of messing with stuff and knowing your corals to kind of get to that stage. But definitely agree. And the DLI thing that you're talking about too, a chunk of that is it's not just par, right? Like, okay, this coral's under 250 par, but 250 par for 4 hours or 8 hours is a completely different story.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that was actually exactly it, is that when people talk about par in this hobby, typically they're talking about par at an 8 to 10 hour photo period. You know, is typically what most people run. Even if they're running a 10 hour, it's usually got an hour ramp up, ramp down. So, you know, when somebody gives a par number, that's usually what they're referring to, but that might not necessarily be what somebody else is running as their photo period. You know, but we all take it for granted when somebody gives you a par number that it's going to be 8 to 10 hours. You know what I mean? But to a beginner or somebody new to it, they might not know that it's always, you know, that you're assuming 8 to 10 hours. So kind of interesting.
Nope. Good points. Sorry, Mike in the chat. I missed that you have a BRS heater controller. I thought you had an Inkbird. I have 2 tanks, and I have one of each on each tank. But yeah, I know the whole lighting and par and duration thing is a good one, which we need to, I don't know, we should dive into more in that one in some future content.
I think one of the cool things actually in the industry, I mean, and this is our company, this is all the other companies making lighting, is that there's definitely a move. I think that at least on the equipment side, you can pretty much trust from the reputable manufacturers that you're going to get a product. A lot of the uncertainty about whether the lighting is adequate is gone from the equation.
Yeah.
On LEDs, the mixes of LEDs that you get and the relative output of them, if it's a you can tell pretty much immediately by the wattage whether it's going to be efficacious in growing coral. And that's what it largely comes down to. Beyond that, now there's a lot of other stuff which is coming out in terms of spectrum, and what's easier versus harder and what specific species like, but that's starting to become encapsulated in the user interfaces of these products. I mean, I'm speaking now largely for ours, but it's kind of, that's the future of this, where it's just less and less guesswork and more that you can rely on and focus on. What David Saxby would say is the number one thing of reef keeping, that you're not actually keeping coral alive, you're keeping water, which I think is one of the truest. I don't know if he was the originator of that statement or not, but I think it's a very good one.
Yeah, it's true though. Keep good water and coral's happy.
Because the coral will adapt. If you're consistent with your lighting, you know, you have adequate lighting, you have adequate flow, it will adapt. And you know, the better your spectral mix, things like that will improve color and growth marginally, but at the same time, the coral's an organism and it wants to live and it wants to succeed. So as long as you give it an environment that it can adapt to, it will adapt to it.
All right, here's a question for you, Jay, in the chat. Brandon, would spectrum or blending be more important after wattage is taken care of?
Yeah, blending is not, I don't know. Blending is not something I think that anyone has definitively shown to have any kind of significance other than for your visual appeal. To quote Sanjay on this one, a photon's a photon's a photon. And having said that, obviously each spectral, the way chlorophyll and photosynthesis works and the way coral works and everything, obviously certain spectrums are easier or more useful to the coral than others are. But the other thing about spectrum is that in par is that they are weighted with the spectrum naturally. So unless you're like using a laser beam at a weird spectral peak, typically in any light designed for aquarium, the par is a pretty good measure of the amount of the right spectrum going to the coral, if that makes sense. So, you know, because of that, it's like blending is largely about your perception of whether or not, how much drama you like in your tank. So
yeah,
I think what we're finding is that most people, the vast majority of people, like somewhere in between bad color mixing of LEDs and completely unnatural flat T5 look.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
what you end up with is where we're at with our current fixtures, which is as good as a blending you can get by having individual diodes, and then you can further smooth it out with like a diffuser, which by its name it just does exactly that. So
So I have a question for you. On your office tank, are you going to add diffusers over top of the G5s, or are you going to leave them as is?
I like the diffusers. Initially, I did not, but you notice less of a difference, I think, with the G5 and the diffusers than with the G4 and the diffusers. But yeah, it is extremely. It's goes from subtle to very subtle.
Yeah.
But you still get a little bit of drama. So I don't know. I'll probably use them just because people like to see it as an accessory.
No, that's fair. Okay, I was wondering because like the G4s is a noticeable difference by adding them, but the G5s I question how much there would be because it's so well blended just like right out of the bat. So
it does get a little bit more blended. I mean that's it.
That's
just
fair.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit. Nice. Well, that was good. Well, it was a good random talk today. I think it's almost been 2 hours, so I won't keep you guys all night because I know you guys are a couple hours ahead of me. But
I think Mogi nodded off.
This is past my coronavirus bedtime now.
Yep. I know. It's my dinner time, so. All right, guys. I think I'll call her for today. But yeah, appreciate everyone coming on today. I don't know. I like these little chats. They're fun.
Yep. Thanks, Deb.
Yep, no problem.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Moki.
Yep. All right, guys. Everyone's watching. If you guys liked it, hit the like button as always. Thanks, Jay, Emily, and baby. And I got a heart from Jay somehow. Nice.
Whoa, what was that?
Heart from Jay somehow.
I click on a heart.
Aw, we got love.
Heart.
Whoa. That's cool. Did not know that.
That's awesome. Where's Jay from? Jay is from Ecotech. Oh, you're talking JS in the chat. It's a different Jay. Another JS in the chat. Sneaky. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. And yeah, catch you guys on next week's stream.